Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Ruben Saldaña. I am politics science student. Today, I want to look about corruption in politics. Corruption is the abuse of power for personal benefits and is a serious issue because it affects all of us. It you can democratically reduce public tax and increases inequality. If government applying more transparent procedures, corruption will decrease significantly. If politicians were more accountable, citizens would trans introduction more. Now, let's imagine a situation. A government official accept bids for a private company. The mayors should have reported irregularity. The, the audio time would have directive is problem earlier. If the government have followed proper procedures, the corporation would not have happened. If the instruction has enforced screen control, the official would have been punished. As a result, Patrick Frank were lost. Therefore, corruption affects society. So, what can it do to prevent corporate corruption? As a future politics science, I will be that prevention start with 18th. A corporate personnel lacks transparency and above responsibility. Law, salaries, and EU institution can cause corruption. If people first more say they will be less like to energy is corruption. Corruption is often normality, and when is no prominent, people asking in. In conclusion, corruption is a serious problem. If strong accounts have been taken, meaning cases would without the allow. If society dynamic transparency, government will improve. Thank you very much, Mal, for listening. Goodbye.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Miranda, and today I will tell about how to avoid corruption in my future professional airline service. Corruption in airline service means using professional responsibilities for personal gain, for example, accepting bribes, changing reservations, unfair or giving privilege to certain passengers. This problem is harmful because it affects customers through them, the company's reputation, and creates a unfair situation and can also cause delays and complaints. Therefore, it's important to prevent corruption from the beginnings of our careers. If airline employees follow with ethical principles, corruption will be reduced. If workers treated as passengers fairly, customers will feel respect and satisfied case or scenario. Let's image a situation and airline employees change a passenger's a seat in challenge for money. The situation could have been avoided past models. The employees should have respected company rules. The airline could have had a strict supervision. Their conditional if the employers had followed ethical rules, the passenger would not have been affected if the company had enforced a stronger control. This problem could have been prevented, but what I don't avoid corruption. As the future airline service professional, I believe prevention starts with personal responsibility. First, I will always be honest, respectful, and fair with the passengers. Second, I will continue learning about ethics and company regulation. Second, conditional. If I saw corruption, I will report it immediately. If I notice unethical behavior, I will ignore it. In conclusion, corruption in airline service is a serious issue that affects passengers, companies, and society. To stop prevent corruption requires ethics, education, and responsibility.
Hi, my name is Ivana Casanova, and today I will talk about how to avoid a corruption in my future profession, psychology. Corruption in psychology can be defined as the misuse of professional power for personal gain. These include manipulating, diagnosing, violating confidentially, or taking advantage of vulnerable patients. This issue is extremely harmful because it damages trust between patient and professional. Moreover, it can seriously affect people's mental health and well-being. In addition, corruption weakens the credibility of the entire profession. Therefore, it's essential to prevent it from the beginning of our careers. This is, in psychology, followed strict ethical principles. Corruption will be significantly reduced. In professional respect confidentially at all times, patients will feel safer and more support. Let's consider a hypothetical situation. A psychology shares confidential patient information with a third party in exchange for money. This situation could have been avoided. The psychology should have respect patient confidentially. The clinic could have implemented stricter supervision system. In the psychologist has followed ethical guidelines. The patients would not have been affected. In this institution had enforced stronger policy. This situation would have been prevented. However, this kind of situation still happens in many professional contexts. As a result, society begins to lose trust in mental health professionals. As future psychology, I believe prevention starts with personal responsibility. First, I will always follow ethical principles such as confidentiality, honesty, and respect. Additionally, I will continue educating myself about professional ethics. If I face a situation involving corruption, I will report it immediately. And if I notice unethical behavior, I will not ignore it. Some warning things included: lack of empathy toward patients, prioritizing money over well-being, justifying unethical action, ignoring professional boundaries. On the other hand, ethical professionals always prioritize their patients. Corruption may happen due to financial pressures, causes of corruption, financial pressure, lack of supervision, weak ethical education, desire for power or recognition. Because of this, it is important to strengthen values during professional training. And why do we normalize corruption? In many societies, corruption becomes normalized in Panama. For example, people may think everyone does it, so they don't see it's a crime. In all. Consequently, unethical behavior becomes more common. Nevertheless, normalization does not make corruption acceptable. In my conclusion, corruption in psychology is a serious issue that affects individuals of society. To sum up, prevent corruption requires strong ethics, education, and accountability. If we commit to ethical behavior, we can build a more trustworthy and professional future. Thank you for listening.